Democrats are secretly pumped for a Trump presidency, and then in the next segment, I go on a rant about Andrew Tate. Bill Maher was interviewed by Stephen A., and he was not talking about Trump and Elon like the Hitler figures people said they were just 2 months ago. Watch this.
But I'm curious to see, for example, what Elon Musk is going to do. I'm curious to see how influential he's going to be. He is tasked with reinventing the government, basically. He said some things which I think are great, and I'm on the page with. The first thing he said was, we're going to ask everybody in the government who has been staying home, and that's been a lot of people since the pandemic, to come back to work.
Right.
And we expect about 20% of the workforce to then just quit, and we welcome that. And I thought, yeah, that's probably okay, because if 20% of the government workforce quit, would we notice the difference? I'm guessing we probably wouldn't. He also said he was going to go after the F-35. Okay, perfect.
Jets.
That's
Yeah.
exactly the kind of thing we should do. This is a fighter jet that they've been funding to the tune of like $1 trillion. And he said, first of all, it's obsolete. We don't use fighter jets anymore. We won't in the very near future. They're just going to get pilots killed, and we have drones now. If that's what's going to go on in the government, I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. This Bill Maher that just said that was talking about how Trump must lose, had to lose. He said that on his show just a couple months ago. Like every show, he talked about how Trump was a threat to democracy. But here was the thing. What Bill Maher says in that video right there, I think that is the general sentiment for people who voted for Kamala Harris. I think most people who voted for Kamala Harris, they're actually deep down excited about some of these historic experiments that Trump is trying because truly they've never been done before. You look at Doge, for instance. Something like Doge has never been tried in the history of America. You look at Bobby Kennedy, for instance, what he wants to do with just overhauling our health elite. Deep down, people want to see how that goes. Even people on the far left, this is what's interesting about a lot of these things. These aren't really left-right. This is more populist establishment. So there's a lot of people on the left who are more populist. And they're seeing, oh, Bobby Kennedy is going to kind of wreck big food. And yeah, they didn't talk about it. They didn't beg Kamala Harris to take this position. But now that it's a reality, they look at it and they think, yeah, that would be pretty good. And I'm excited to see how it turns out. That's what they're saying. Obviously, the Democrats didn't campaign on it because it was fairly risky. I think one evidence of the fact that it was risky is like Bobby Kennedy didn't join the Trump team until just a few months before Trump won. There was a lot of talk for a long time if Trump would even make that a part of his campaign. I think in hindsight, it was a huge strength to him. Doge is the same way. Doge, that was not always a thing. And Elon Musk being on board with Donald Trump, that only happened after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. So I think a lot of us think about these things like it's always been part of Trump. They're very recent. They're very, very recent because they're risky. They were risky to campaign on. They paid off. And now that they've paid off, I think people on the right and the left are very excited for it. Let me tell you about a story of election night. This is a personal story, and this is why I believe that Bill Maher is not the only one. I was in D.C. I've told this story on my show before. I was in D.C. before, during, and after the election. And before the election, businesses all around my hotel were boarding up because they were expecting Kamala Harris to lose and they were expecting there to be some violence and some looting. And I was ready in DC with a camera to watch all of it. I was fully expecting that as well, by the way. I predicted Trump would win. DC is 94% Democrat. I was fully ready for there to be some craziness and I was going to get some footage of it and upload it on my channel. It was going to be awesome. But when election night came, there was nothing. There was less than nothing. I literally went around the whole city. It was like 1 a.m. Nothing happened. There was nothing at the White House, nothing at Congress, nothing. No one did anything. And I think that I know why. And it's the reason why Bill Maher has said the things that he's saying. When it came down to the results, those who voted for Kamala remembered all of the things under Trump that were pretty darn good. I'm not saying they would have voted for Trump. And sure, they bought some of the media lies about Trump, that he was racist and things like that. I'm not saying that they stopped believing those things. They still believed it, but they knew deep down, if Trump was reelected, the wars would probably go away, the economy would be booming, and that illegal immigrants would suddenly stop invading our borders. So there was no need to riot because deep down, they were pretty happy. And what we're seeing today is that the elites, not just the random people in DC, but even Bill Maher, who I would say is an elite, he's a media elite, are admitting the exact same thing. I want to take a moment to talk about a company that's making a real difference, Prison Fit. Prison Fit is a groundbreaking program developed by prisoners designed to support incarcerated and recently released individuals through bodyweight exercises, nutrition, mindset coaching, and re-entry training. It's a comprehensive approach that includes workout and cooking books, clothing, accessories, and even employment training to help people successfully transition back into society. They're currently running a Kickstarter campaign to fund 2 exercise books, expand their website, and support their in-prison small business course. This course has already helped hundreds of inmates gain the skills and tools they need to succeed after prison. Helping people re-enter society and make meaningful changes in their lives is something I'm very passionate about. So please join me and head over to the link in my description and check out Prison Fit today. Andrew Tate went on Benny Johnson's show. For those of you who don't know who Benny Johnson is, he's a conservative political commentator, and his interview with Andrew Tate has a lot of conservatives talking about what we should do with Andrew Tate. Russell Brand, who I would say is one of the largest political commentators on the right at this point, came out in support of Andrew Tate, and I'm sorry, but I cannot agree with Russell on it. I'll talk about it in a second, but I want to show you what Russell said about Andrew Tate.
Someone like Andrew Tate, with the audience he has, could make a significant difference if correctly backed. He does say some stuff that's pretty out there. But the fact is, in a democracy, if someone is able to glean popular support, they can have a mandate. They should be represented. I suppose what's more significant and interesting to me is the way that figures like Andrew Tate or Tommy Robinson have always been maligned, I think, to place an impassable threshold around systems of influence and power. You can have your own views of Andrew Tate. You might think he's misogynistic or vulgar, but the fact is he appeals to a lot of people and he represents some things that a lot of people are very interested in.
Just to clear up what Russell Brand says there, Andrew Tate is not just misogynistic and vulgar. He's also a pimp. Like that, that's the best of Andrew Tate. If you want to say he's misogynistic and vulgar, he's got so much worse things. There's nothing conservative about him. None whatsoever. And here's the deal, guys. I have no problem at all with people having Andrew Tate on their show, interviewing him. If in this conversation today, I would love to have Andrew Tate on my show. I got no problems with it. I am an absolutist when it comes to that. Anyone can interview anyone. I do not care. But acting like because he has a large audience, that he should have a large audience and that we should support him in having a large audience is a huge mistake. And the reason why is because Andrew Tate basically represents conservatism corrupted at every single turn. On one hand, he's conservative, but on the other, he completely destroys it. I'll give you an example. He's religious. That's very conservative. That's good. But he's a Muslim extremist. And since when did conservatives support Muslim extremism? I don't understand that. The other thing, he's an entrepreneur. Okay, that's good. Yeah, we like entrepreneurship. It's very conservative. But the business that he chose to create with his entrepreneurial spirit is pimping out naked girls online. That's his business. Another example, he's physically strong, he's mentally strong. That's great, that's very conservative, I would say. But instead of using those things to fulfill his societal obligations, to create a family, he uses them to indulge in pretty much every sin that he can, and he does that publicly, and he encourages his audience to do it as well. And then he says that that's masculinity. So you have to ask yourself, if you consider yourself as a conservative out there, you have to ask yourself, how does this man represent anything that you believe in? And what I would humbly suggest about Andrew Tate and about yourself, if you think that he represents you, is that he is using you as much as the women that he pimps out online. In other words, you're a whore, and it's just a different kind of whore. That's what he does. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. He does it to everybody, and he does it in different ways. And what I'm most concerned about with all of this is that if you look at the demographic supporting Andrew Tate the most, it is largely America First. And America First is a pretty awesome group. I would consider myself a part of that group. And here's the problem. America First is all about protecting America's interests. Maybe that's controversial, but that's what it says, right? America First. And it's talking about economic policy, for instance. Americans should be put first over anything when it comes to the job market, when it comes to tariffs, all of that. Immigration policy. Immigrants shouldn't be able to flood in America for no reason because Americans should be protected. Foreign policy, it's all about America first. Don't waste money in Iraq when Americans are suffering here. But after all of that, you have to ask yourself, if America sucks, then what is America First all for? What are we protecting it for? And progressives, here's the problem. Progressives will take over America first, just like they took over the Republican Party under Bush, because we'll be so distracted by focusing on America first policies that the America that we are actually putting first will be the progressives' America. And so we'll succeed in getting America first, but it'll be a sucky, sucky America. In other words, we're going to fall into a cycle that's already been repeated where conservatives focus on immigration, they focus on the economy, on foreign policy, and leftists focus on the social policy. And then in the end, leftists win because we preserve a free America, but for them to run. And there's no conservatism left. And the reason why that happens is because we freaking trust people like Andrew Tate. And that's our future. That is our future if Russell Brand supports Andrew Tate, if these conservative people support Andrew Tate. You want to talk about America first for a second? Andrew Tate is a Romanian Muslim pimp trying to interfere with the social politics of America. He has nothing to do with us. He has no incentive to help us, and we should not listen to a single thing that he has to say. Are you guys stressing about your taxes like we all do at this time of year? I wanted to tell you about a special deal that my sponsor, Quick Tax America, is running right now. They are doing all federal tax returns for only $69, no matter how complicated your taxes are. It only takes 30 minutes to finish your return since they have real tax professionals do it. You simply answer a few questions, you upload your tax documents, and then you schedule a short call with a tax professional to finalize your return, and they do all the rest. Again, it's only $69. Go check them out at quicktaxamerica.com as soon as you have your tax documents so you can get your best return. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and watch another video.